In this video I'm going to be showing you a location where I've set up a feeding station. Fortunately it's on private land, so I don't have any worry about it being vandalised or anything like that. It's very important when you actually do set up a new feeding station that you need to do it on private land. If you do it on public land, chances are it's going to get ruined. Over the years I've had 2 hides that have been vandalised, one that was actually stolen. But at this location it's great because it's well out of the way, it's out in the country and no one else goes here. There are a number of advantages to using this particular location. Apart from the fact that it's on private land, the number of birds you're going to get in here, absolutely masses of them compared to the previous hide that I had. Loads and loads of goldfinches, loads of green finches, blue tits, great tits. There's woodpeckers, jays and that sort of thing around here. And certainly within 3 weeks of me setting it up, I'm getting masses of birds coming in on the feeding station. One of the reasons that I get so many birds coming into this location is the amount of cover that I've got. There's trees, bushes, bramble all the way around here. So if a predator like a sparrowhawk comes down, there's plenty of room for them to get into cover. I've only had this hide set up for about 3 weeks now, and I've been amazed at the amount of birds that are coming in here. It's important with the feeders that you have a range of bird food available. I've got sunflower hearts, peanut feeder, niger seeds and fat balls. So there's a whole range of food for them to feed on. The niger seeds are primarily for the goldfinches, and certainly when they come in, they'll come in droves. One thing I did want to have at this location was a decent sized bird bath, and basically that's all it is, but I've made it to try and look like a small pond. It's made out of plastic and it's a cement mixing tray that you can buy from B&Q's. The important thing is that you've got to try and make it look natural. You can do that by putting moss and everything around the edge, but the problem that you have is it's made of black plastic, so the edge can look very unnatural. To make the edge look more natural, what you have to do, and I got this tip from Mike Lane, is that you get some clear glue and you paint it all around the edges there, and then sort of using sieved earth compact it around the edge and let it dry. Then shake all the loose earth off, and the edge then looks, rather than looking like black plastic, it looks like a bit of log or something like that. The camera that I'm going to be using today is the EM1X coupled with the 40-150 2.8 lens with also the 1.4 converter. I've set the hide to be about 10 or 12 foot away from the drinking pool and the feeders. Using the 40-150 with 1.4 on, that gives me a reasonable image size of the small birds, but using the zoom gives me the option that if a larger bird comes down I can still get it in. The hide that I'm using now you can't actually buy anymore. It's a Jamie Wood Fensman hide. Unfortunately Jamie Wood went out of business a long time ago. It's a very adaptable hide because it's on telescopic poles, so you can put it on ground that isn't dead flat, and I've used it for a number of years. Unfortunately it's starting to go a bit rotten at the bottom now, but it still does the job. I've purposely set the feeders up at this location on this side of the bird bath here. The reason is most of the birds will be flying in from this side here on the right, where there's lots of bushes, bramble and cover there. Left hand side there are trees and that there, but it's a little bit more open in aspect. So what will happen is that they're going to be flying across from here. So if I put something between the bushes and the feeders, the chances are, particularly if there's a lot of birds on the feeders, they might land on here first. What I've done here is actually I've got a little half coconut there with sunflower hearts there, but if I sit it down there you can't actually see it from the angle that I'm actually photographing. I can put a post, or I can actually put sort of a branch here, And what I've done is I've actually got the bembo and a bit of bramble stuck to it. So what I would then do would be to feed that into there, and with a bit of luck, it'd be quite nice to get a goldfinch, greenfinch or a bird sitting on here. Invariably what I'll do, once I start to take pictures, I will take a lot of the other feeders down. You don't want to have too many feeders there. You want to restrict the amount of food that's left there. Then they've got to come to this area. And hopefully, if there's 2 or 3 birds in here, what will happen is they'll queue up on this bit of bramble and I should get some light shots. Well, that's the theory of it anyway. I always think that birds look really nice on bramble. It's a quite natural perch. Sometimes you see perches that people have photographed them on, and it's probably pretty obvious it's been put there, as this one has, but hopefully it looks quite nice. So the reason that I've got the actual bird bath on a table rather than on ground level is because from this angle it's going to give me a clear backdrop. The background there is 30-40 foot away. Okay, so here I'm going to be shooting at a level from the hide where I'm more or less level with the birds. If I had it down on the ground, I'd be shooting down at a 45-degree angle. Doesn't always produce the best pictures. So for this setup there, I've set it up on a table there, and then I can shoot at a decent level to photograph the birds when they're bathing and splashing about. It's big enough. It's not a true reflection table. That would be longer, but here it's probably just about enough using the lens combination that I've got today. One of the birds I particularly wanted to attract to this site are wrens. Wrens love mealworms, and initially I thought I'll put the mealworms in one of the trays on the pole feeder, but half of them wriggled out, climbed up the edge and fell onto the ground, so that didn't work. David Tipling told me a way of getting around this problem. If you use a cut down milk or juice carton, cut the bottom off it and put the mealworms in that, they really struggle to climb out of the side of the actual pot. A few will, but certainly the majority will stay in the pot so the birds can eat them. You'll notice in the background I've got a silver birch log there and a post there to attract the jays and woodpeckers. I've got holes drilled down the side of the silver birch there, plugged it with peanuts. Yesterday we had the woodpecker came down. I managed to get a few shots of it. The reason I've got it set further back than here is because their jays in particular, and not quite so much woodpeckers, are a lot more wary than small birds are. So eventually I'll get them, give it a couple of weeks, get them used to coming to there, and then gradually start to bring it in closer. I could easily do that from that distance with my 300mm lens on the EM1X, but at the moment I'm trying to keep to within using the 40-150 with a 1.4 converter. So with the post there's no actual holes there where you can actually put peanuts in, so what I usually do is just put some bread paste around the back where you can't see it from the actual front where you're taking pictures, and then you can actually sort of just press a few nuts into that. So hopefully you might get a jay, and from the viewpoint of the hide it will look quite attractive having a jay or a woodpecker or even a magpie on this very, very rustic sort of looking post. Up until now I've only had one session actually in the hide yesterday and got some quite nice shots which I'll show you at the end of this video, but what I'm going to do is go in the hide and actually take some pictures. It's a little bit cloudy and overcast today, so might be a little bit of a struggle, but hopefully I should get something. What I will need to do, if you're looking at this bit of video, is remove the light coloured stones. They're a little bit distracting, so I'll need to go over there and just pick out all the very, very light ones. You can see the amount of goldfinches that are coming in is quite amazing. It's just showing a couple of short video clips of birds bathing and the woodpecker. This is using the EM1X and setting the camera to slow motion, which is 5 times slower. So I'm just going to finish up showing a few still images. These were taken on the first session that I had at this location, and at that time I didn't actually have all the moss and everything around the edges. All I had is some branches and bits of log. I was very lucky that even on the first session I had a visit from a male blackcap, and it bathed and had a splash about. You can see on this picture it looks absolutely soaked. But certainly the water has been a great success. The birds like to come there and bathe in it and have a splash about. And I think it's one of these locations that's going to be very, very profitable come the winter time when it really starts to get cold. If you're getting this number of birds coming in at this time of year, and it's only the beginning of October, I think it's going to be well worth persevering with. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Please check out my other YouTube videos, and thanks for watching.